Going to do the Alchemist spell list. So, hello everybody, welcome to the Alchemist spell tier list. I'm your host, Strimtom. I will actually need to double check on some of these spells because the exact icons I don't know off by heart, which is complicated. But we are going to be doing a tier list for every single Alchemist spell in the game. I'm not as used to these, so it's going to take a second to kind of do that, but yeah, should be good. Important note, we've got the always take and learn spells. These are spells that you should always be taking. Spells that are basically some of the best ones, regardless of what type of alchemist you're playing. It doesn't matter, you should have those. The sometimes are the ones that are like pretty good, and you want to fit them in when you can, if possible, if you're not always running out of other spells. The rarely learned spells are spells that are just, again, not nearly as good. They have very situational use that you might be able to find useful, or maybe they only have one use in the entire game. And then you have D tier, where you put all the bad spells. So let's get started with some of the simple stuff here. We'll start with the Vial Smash spells. All of these ones down here, they're pretty easy. Vial Smash spells, these are going to go in the sometimes take. They're useful for the early leveling Alchemist for the first couple of levels, but it's important to note that basically the early levels of playing an Alchemist as a spellcaster or melee Alchemist, these spells in particular are very low damage and are not going to be that great overall. A spell that is going to land you much better use is going to be this spell right here. Inflict Light Wounds. Same with Inflict Serious, or Immoderate. Inflict Serious. And of course, Inflict Critical. Is this Heal Critical or Inflict Critical? I believe this is Inflict Critical, because it's got the skull on it. These might use the same icon. Anyway, the Inflict spells. Why would you put all the Inflict spells into the Always Take? Well, the main reason is that the Inflict spells actually deal dramatically more damage than you would think they do. They deal an extremely high amount of damage, way more than they're supposed to. This makes the Inflict spell as one of the best spells you can get in the early leveling process. Now, Alchemists also get this as a spell-like ability. They get Inflict Light and Inflict Serious as really easy access spell-like abilities of the Apothecary tree, meaning you can dump, all your meta magic feats into them and just do an incredibly high amount of damage. So highly recommend you take these ones, moderate and critical along the way. If you're any type of alchemist, they're just useful for throwing in some extra damage, so super great. An easier spell here in the early levels is this one, Flash Powder. So Flash Powder causes a stun, which is okay, but the problem with it is it's like a single target spell and it's at touch range. I don't usually recommend this spell. It's really, really hard to recommend this spell over another spell like this one. Wait, which one is this? I want to make sure I get this. Not Rapid Condensation, Sleep Powder, Fine Dust is this one. Fine Dust. I think Fine Dust is a pretty good spell. For early leveling, the best way to describe it is it's a knockdown. So it immediately trips an enemy, or a series of enemies, and it's very, very good as a level 1 crowd control spell. I think it's probably the best level 1 crowd control, just to be able to knock monsters out of the way and get rid of them when you don't want to fight them, which is very, very good. However, moving up on crowd control, we have Glue Bomb. Glue Bomb is one of the best alchemist spells. Think of it like Web, except it works on more monsters, because you can hit spiders with it when spiders are normally immune to Web, but it doesn't leave something on the ground. So whereas Web leaves a web that more monsters can walk in and get webbed to, this doesn't leave something sticky on the ground, so it does not work exactly the same way. Still, very, very useful spell all the way through the game. Super good. Actually, there's a bunch of spells here that are really easy. So the Elemental Weapon Imbue, I would say rarely take. This one's not bad if you're buffing yourself, it's okay. But the sometimes take is the Greater Weapon Elemental Imbue, because this just adds more damage. You get it, I think, at level 9. I believe it's level 9 is when you get this one. And it adds a bunch of damage. You can cast this on your friends. It's one of the few alchemist spells you actually can cast on other people. Almost every alchemist spell is self-only. Now, obviously, we have cures here. I'm going to put the cures are at the minimum in a sometimes take, but the better cures give you increased stats. Oh, there's 2 copies of the Inflict. So I'm going to pretend that one of these is critical. Yeah, Cure Critical admixture. All of these are going to be quite useful. And then in the Always Take, you always take Heal Admixture. Heal Admixture is insane. It's so good. It's literally the best throughput healing spell in the video game. No exceptions. Make sure you take this spell on every single alchemist you play. It heals more than any other spell in the game outside of the Epic Destiny abilities, and it's AoE. Downside is it takes an hour to chuck it because your character's got to wind up and then actually throw the spell, but still pretty good. Next, we have the Love Potion, Persuasion Potion here. What is this called? Alluring Elixir, good name. This is the rarely take. It basically gives you +4 insight bonus to all of your social skills. It's not bad. It's not a bad spell. It's good in the situations where you want that extra +4 to your social skills. Unfortunately, it doesn't add to UMD. Augment Armor. This is an always take. This is a great low-level buff spell because it adds physical resistance rating and armor class. The armor class is not really that great, but the physical resistance rating is kind of good. It's pretty useful for what you actually want to use it for. Next is this red spell, which is what? What is this red man? Bitter Frostburst. Okay, so Bitter Frostburst is the same as this one. So I'm going to grab all these, put them in the same place. You notice I have nothing in the D tier yet. Don't worry, we'll get there. Bitter Frostburst. This Solvent spell. I'm actually going to put these in always take. Where are the other two? Oh man, I don't know Alchemist spell symbols well enough. I'm actually sifting through all of this, and it's hard because I think some of them actually look yellow. Or they're missing. Molotov Cocktail is one of them. And Voltaic Induction. Anyway, all of these spells that I'm looking for are basically the same thing. These are all Fireball. Fireball is one of the best leveling spells in the game because of the area of it. You just drop it at a monster and it explodes, dealing damage to all monsters around. It's really easy to understand and it's very easy to use. All of these are basically Fireball, but you have Cold Fireball, Acid Fireball, Fire Fireball, and Lightning Fireball. You don't take all of them on a character, you just take the ones that you actually use. So if you are a Lightning Alchemist, Lightning Fireball. Fire Alchemist, Fire Fireball. Acid Alchemist, Acid Fireball. Cold Alchemist, Cold Fireball. Technically, I guess you wouldn't really take these. I guess these would be a sometimes take, in theory, because they're like a damage spell, so you're not always going to use this on every character. If you're playing as a melee or ranged alchemist, you wouldn't need them, so I'll put them there instead. That feels a little bit more appropriate. Okay, the bottle boosts. So we have all the different bottle boosts. Bottle boost attack, D tier. Bottle boost defense, D tier. Bottle boost double strike, pretty good. Bottle boost haste, very, very good. Bottle boost melee power, D tier. Bottle boost spell power, D tier. Bottle boost movement speed, S tier. So the haste boost and double strike double shot are both very, very good. These are the same thing as action boost, just with a longer cooldown. Attack speed, obviously this is one of the best things, attack bonuses in the entire game. Double strike is also very useful, and double shot gives you more damage. Sprint boost is useful on every alchemist build. You always want to make sure you have this one in here, and then the other ones are situational, but this is so good for just getting around on any alchemist. Very, very, very useful. All right. So next we've got, I believe this is Caustic Overload. So Caustic Overload is going to go here. I'm going to put this up above some of these other ones. I believe this is Flash Freeze as well. Or no, Vein Freeze. Where's Vein Freeze? Oh man, there's so many spells in this list. You have Vein Freeze right here. Voltaic Burst right here. And it's Cinder Smoke is this one. So these spells are debuff spells that are basically improved fireballs. So they're like the fireball. They're one level higher. They do a little bit more damage, and they all have an added effect. So you have like the acid spell, which reduces physical resistance rating. You have the cinder smoke, which blinds. You have the lightning spell, which reduces magical resistance rating. An important note, those are good effects. But the most important one is Vein Freeze, which is going to be the only one that makes it up here into the always take. Vein Freeze freezes monsters when you hit them with it, which is a crowd control effect, which is very, very good. And it's based off your conjuration DCs, which means you don't have to worry about transmutation as much. If you're playing as an all conjuration alchemist, or just somebody who happens to have some amount of conjuration, Vein Freeze is awesome just to whip into a pack and just do some additional damage. It's quite good. All right, so next is Choking Smog. Choking Smog is D tier. It is terrible. This is like a silence effect, and it has like a slow. It's really, really not that good. Don't ever use this, so please don't use that. After that is this Cold Spike. There it is. So you have Cold Spike, Melt Armor, and the other ones. These are going to be in the sometimes take, but at the bottom. So these are the level 2 spells that are single target in terms of damage, where you do a little bit of a hit. Corrode weapons will take backlash, Melt Armor. Yeah, these ones. So you have the Cold Spike, cold damage, acid damage here, the Melt Armor, which is the fire damage, and then Voltaic Backlash, the lightning. So as I said, you don't have to focus on having these ones. Instead, you can kind of just like, they're good for your second levels. They're good for leveling and dealing damage, but they're single target. As you get higher level, you don't need them as much. So this is mostly from the perspective of like being at a high level character. But during the leveling process, you're going to use all of the damage spells appropriate to your element. So obviously, if you want to play as a lightning alchemist, you're taking this lightning spell, you're taking this lightning spell, you're taking this lightning spell the entire way through the game. And then later on, you stop using this lightning spell, you stop using this lightning spell as you go along and you get further into it. If I don't recognize the images on some of these spells, I can only assume that they're very bad. Corrosive Dust does rust damage, D tier. Really cool idea for a spell. Alchemist has no way to make good use of this. And doesn't have any way to get rust spell power, unless you max out repair, which is not a class skill. So, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question, and I am not entirely sure how you're supposed to fix that in general. Anyways, let's move on to some of the removals. So we have the Curative Admixture Remove Curse. Always take. This is an incredibly useful spell because you can cast it basically like in raids and stuff, which is really, really useful. Love this one. Like, for example, Vision of Destruction. You can throw this on groups of people who are cursed. You can throw this on people who are cursed in... what's that raid called? Project Nemesis. So you have a lot of different options for where you can use the spell and ability. Then we have Harm. Harm, I'm going to put this in the sometimes take category. I think it's pretty good, but it's not as good as the other spells, like these ones here. Harm does a lot of damage, obviously, but Harm can't kill, and that's its main problem. It can't kill monsters, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, the next spell that's on the list is this Holy... Was it Holy Hand Grenade or whatever it's called? I actually have no idea what the name of the spell is. I've seen it. Oh, no, that's not it. This is I'm thinking of Sanctified Vial. This is a very different spell. I'm thinking of this one. D tier. So this spell is really cool. It is a special ability that does bane damage to undead and extraplanar creatures because it's holy water, and it can banish them. It's an extremely insanely powerful spell, but it requires that you are using Paladin, Cleric, or Favored Soul. So you have to multi-class to use the spell. It's very cool. So I'll put it even in rarely take. It has a use, but it doesn't really have a use because it's Bane damage. If they picked another damage type other than Bane, I don't know. If it was like, does Bane damage but scales off of poison spell power or something, it would be cool. But as is, oof, that one's not that great. AoE disease removal, always take. AoE poison removal, always take. These are just like fantastic and useful abilities. You can't really go wrong with these ones. Remove paralysis, ha ha ha, D tier. If someone's paralyzed, you're not going to get the remove paralysis there in time. Also, almost all paralyses are removed by heal. So just cast the heal, don't cast the paralysis. They're already taking damage in general. Displacement draft, S tier, always take. This gives you displacement, which makes it super duper good. This picture I have never seen before, so I don't know what spell this is. The next one on the list. I'm literally trying to look it up. Dust of Confusion? Hilarious. So what this does is it makes it so monsters will attack each other, which sounds kind of good, and so they'll be confused and attack each other. The main problem is that this spell, Flesh to Gold Mass, exists. And Flesh to Gold Mass is a fantastic crowd control ability, and is super duper duper strong in comparison to this. So, yeah, why would I could choose. Either I make them confused and they attack each other, or I turn them all to gold and then they can't do anything. I don't know which one they think you're supposed to choose, but yeah. This ability is called Elemental Skin. And what it does is it gives you extra bonus absorption or resistance to elements. This ability is fantastic. It lasts a long time, and the extra elemental resistance is good because it stacks with basically everything else, which is nice. So it gives you a total of, I think, 15 extra resistance at max caster level, which stacks with regular resistance. So if you're playing as, let's just say, you have your points in Unyielding Sentinel, and you get the extra 35 resist on top of this. It brings you up to 50 resist all elements, which is pretty substantial. Even though it's a based flat number, if you're not playing an R10, you will notice this go down, and even if you are playing an R10, that's a huge amount of damage reduction on damage over time effects, so it can be quite good. Alright, so I believe this is the final spell here, Elemental Combination. I've just never seen it up close. It's very colorful. And this spell is probably in the always take category. It's not a lot of good 6th level spells, and this one really fits the bill. It does a whole bunch of damage where it does randomly chooses between the different effects, and it's essential if you're a bombardier because you use it for proccing all of the burning ambition dice on a single target. So very, very good effect. Yeah, would recommend here. Next, we have all the single target bottle spells. I'm just going to try to get these out of here. So these are all these ones down here, so not the concentrations. So these are all the single target acid spells. I'm going to put these ones above the Vial Smash just because they do more damage. So you have the acid one, you have the lightning one, you have the cold one, and you have the fire one. Oh no, one of these is poison, and then the lightning one. So these ones are all pretty good. I would rate them higher than the Bottle Smash effects. Although this rating is now out of order because these other spells are more important, but it doesn't matter. Again, why are they all in the same row? You're not using all of them. Generally, I would say use acid and then whatever other element you want, because acid is almost always going to work. But yeah, then you can kind of go from there. But that would be my general recommendation, is to make sure you have these ones. I think they're better than the Vial Smashers because you get them at range. They only cost 2 whenever you cast them with no meta magics, and they go pretty quickly. So they're very, very strong. However, this one, as much as I love it, I'm going to put it in the rarely take. I would put this in never take. This is Empty Bottle, where you don't have any alchemy done, and you just throw the bottle at somebody and it breaks on their face, dealing bludgeoning damage. It's a bad spell, but it's a really funny idea for a bad spell. So I love Empty Bottle. You just hit somebody with a bottle in the face. You're like, oops, forgot the alchemy, and just hit them. So great idea. I love it. Oh yeah, and you can use it for Vault of Night Pillars. Yeah, true. It is bludgeoning damage. Didn't even think about that. Feathers Extract. You want to always take this one because Feathers Extract is super good. It is very, very useful in terms of just giving you jump and featherfall at the same time. Same with Gill's Extract. It does the same thing. There's going to be a lot of level 1 spells in this list. Obviously, when you get higher levels, swap out the your level 1 inflict spell. You no longer need that anymore. You probably don't need Find Dust at high levels either. So swap out spells as you see fit and as you increase your level once you replace some stuff. So there's evolution. There's the 3 evolution spells, right? So you have evolution, greater, lesser evolution, and greater evolution. All these spells are very, very good, and you want to, whoops, not this one. And you want to take all of them when you have them. But obviously the best one is the greater evolution. This is the most powerful of all 3 of them. So you always want to take this one, and you always want to take that one, and you sometimes take evolution. I wouldn't say you would have to take evolution, but you always want to take these 2 because they give you +2 or +4 to whatever stat that you want. There used to be a bug where the Constitution would stack, which was really funny. That does not exist in the game anymore, but it was cool at the time. Next is Flashbang. This is a spell that if you hit a guy, they become blind, and if they're blind, they become stunned. Really cool concept. Requiring 2 spells puts it in the D tier to make it work. Next, we have Flash Freeze. Now, Flash Freeze here is quite good. I'm going to put it in the sometimes take. I don't think this spell is as good as the Flesh to Gold, just because it doesn't last as long. But it is quite useful because it lasts for 6 seconds, but it's Transmutation. I'm going to put it as a great spell to think about taking, not one you always have to do. Flesh to Gold, again, it's a single target crowd control spell. It's not bad. I'm going to put it down here. So, yeah. Flash Freeze works on more enemy types, though. You're somebody who plays Alchemist more than I do, so if you see something that is a correction, just do let me know. Are you implying that you would rate Flash Freeze higher than Flesh to Gold? Does Flash Freeze work on Undead? Alright, I can swap them. This is why it's good to get other feedback. Alright. So then we have the 2 stone spells. So I believe that's these spells. So this is the stone skin spells. So you have stone skin, bigger stone skin, and gold skin. I think that's what gold skin looks like. No, this is gold skin. Which one is this one? Oh god. Greater stone skin and gold skin. So stone skin draft is okay. It's fine. It's good for leveling. Greater stone skin draft is a little bit better for leveling. Gold skin, I really like gold skin. Gold skin does a lot of work. Also, thank you for the sub, Hepcat Kip. Hope you're doing well. Gold skin does a lot of work in terms of reducing the amount of damage you take during the leveling process. Once you get this at level 15, once you cast it, your character just stops taking damage from enemies almost entirely. It's great, and it works very heavily through epics. At endgame, it's not as good, but damn, is it useful during the entire leveling process. Coin Breath. Really, really funny spell. So cast it if you want the laughs. I would not usually take this one. It's not necessarily a bad idea. It does fire and bludgeoning, and you don't get any scaling. And also it doesn't do a lot of damage. So Coin Breath, again, it's a funny spell. but that's about it. I would not recommend really using it. Really, what kills this spell is just the damage scaling. It's a d6 plus 2 and a d6 plus 2. When as a 6th level spell, it should at least be a d6 plus 3, d6 plus 3. They could be made better. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Next, we have the actual weapon imbues, so the Heartseeker poisons. All of these are pretty bad, and I wouldn't really recommend using any of them. However, if you were going to use any of them, I would recommend the Heartseeker poison. The Heartseeker poison is going to be the best one because it reduces fortitude saves, and if you're meleeing and you're using the poisons, you want the fortitude saves to go down because that's also going to help you with your flash freeze and other things. The reflex save will save poisons, not usually going to be as nice when you're actually attacking people. So with the rest of these poisons, I'm going to hit them down here, unless there's any correction about this one. The other poisons I can't really see any use pretty much ever. I'll get the other poison out of here. But yeah, there's a lot of like repetitive spells, and so these ones I'll put all together. These are the same picture, but it doesn't matter. So the Heartseeker poison is the only one I recommend. The other poisons I can't, which are basically imbues that you put on your weapons, and when you attack people, that reduces their saving throws, and when you crit them, it does an extra effect. They're pretty much all bad, with the exception of the fortitude save one, because as I said, poison spells are fortitude. If you're meleeing, you're going to be in the vile chemistry, or ranging, you're going to be in the vile chemistry, which means you're casting poisons, which means you actually care about that, and all the crowd controls are also fortitudes, so keep that in mind. Then we have Liquid Courage, I believe it's what it's called. So this is Greater Liquid Courage right here. Which one's Regular Liquid Courage? Regular Liquid Courage and Greater Liquid Courage. Greater Liquid Courage, going to be an always take. Regular Liquid Courage, I'll put this in the sometimes take. It's okay to take, but you can just buy potions of heroism. This grants you heroism. Buying potions on an alchemist will actually last you longer than taking this. So I'm actually going to put this in rarely take. Buy a potion. It is better than the spell. Greater heroism, though, you can't get potions of that. So get the potion right here, which is pretty good. Greater Restoration Draft. Always take. Restoration Draft, I'm going to put it sometimes take. It's not bad to have. It's definitely a reasonable spell to consider taking. And I don't know where Lesser Restoration Draft is in on here. I don't see it yet. Again, there's still spells. I literally don't know what they do. So we'll see. Melt Lock. This is good for opening locks. I would always take this one because you can.
Skin, but what about Gold Start Sub?
I do like Gold Start Sub. That's my favorite kind of sub. Oh my god, did you just sub at tier 3 and then not use the tier 3 sub message, but instead cheered for it? That's amazing. Thank you for the resub, dude. Appreciate the tier 3 sub. Next, we've got the Poison Vial. This one, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Oh, up here. So the reason why I like this spell, Alchemist is garbage in the early game. But you get this spell, Greater Venom Vial, at level 3. And it's a fortitude save, which means even if monsters make their save, they still take the damage. The benefit of this is that you can just use this anytime you need it. You can use this anytime you need it to do a little bit of extra damage from level 3 to 6. You're trying to get to level 6 as fast as possible, because level 6 is when you get all of these spells. So like all of these like freezing AoE spells. This helps you get there. Would recommend. Oh, it's this one here. So this is the lesser one. The lesser one, again, it's not bad. You can take that. I would recommend just take a potion for this, and then just grab these spells when you get later for the Greater Restoration. Next is this spell, which I don't know what this does. It looks like someone clutching at their heart, and it's red. What is the spell? Oh, Heartstopper Poison. Oh, it's the poison AoE spell. So yes, of course that's a good one. That's gonna go here with these ones. I should have known that. I haven't played enough Poison Alchemist. Yeah, not knowing what the pictures look like is killing me here. Invisibility Potion. Drink a potion or cast the spell. Iron Shavings. Really cool idea. You smash a bottle that makes monsters corporeal if they're incorporeal. It's a really cool idea, except they have a saving throw on it. It's such a niche spell with the save that the monster can make. Garbage tier. It should have no save on it. I have no idea why this is a save. I'm just dropping shards of shrapnel on the ground. It should just work. Next is this face here, which is what? What is this spell? What is this blue face? I'm straight up looking for the spell, trying to find the equivalent. I have no idea what this blue face is. Hypnotic? Oh, Hypnotic Combination. Oh, it's a charm spell. No, it's useless. I've never used that spell. And now we're really running out of spells here. So multi-vial spells. Multi-vial spells are in the always take category. The multi-vial spell is the best spell you can get on Alchemist in terms of damage. The damage in here is absolutely insane. So you definitely want to make sure you're taking these ones. And even better than this, these spells are, I didn't have to move that because it doesn't really matter. If you don't need to use any of them, so if you're like, man, I'm not playing as the type of alchemist that can use them, stack poison spell power, cast multi-vial of poison, even if they make their save, they still take the damage. Very, 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 very good. Poison breath, D tier. It goes along with the coin breath. The damage on this is a d6 plus 5, which is actually not that bad. The problem is it's poison, you have to be in melee range. I will actually say, maybe not D tier. I would put this as sometimes take. If I'm playing as a poison alchemist, I will take this, but outside of that, the range is like not amazing on this. Maybe if you're playing like a melee alchemist, but probably not. I don't see this being as useful, but it's way better than Gold Breath. So what are you gonna do? All right, we're down to the last few spells, so we're almost out of here. Next is Quicksilver Potion. I'm gonna put Quicksilver Potion in the sometimes take. It's a really useful buff spell. It's haste, so this is the haste spell on yourself only. Is that good enough to actually use? Melees? Yes. Ranged? Yes. Spellcaster? I don't know. I don't know if I would use that well. I don't think it's that as good as that. Next, we have 2 more dust spells. We have Rapid Condensation, which is right here, which casts Obscuring Mist. Rarely take. The reason I say that is if you're in low-level Reaper Hardcore, this is Obscuring Mist, which is very useful for getting people through the first few areas if Reapers are spawning, because Obscuring Mist prevents Reapers from hitting your targets. Outside of that, can't recommend it. And then Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder is actually not that bad because it causes monsters to sleep. And it actually just lasts based on the caster level. And it doesn't have any character level bonuses. So it's not that bad of a spell. I would say you could sometimes take Sleep Powder. I've seen it work some magic in the early levels, and it gets a job done. So it's not entirely a bad spell. Next we have, I believe this is Salt Crystals. Yes, Salt Crystals, which causes 8 days. It's a lie. It's just a 6-second stun. How good is this spell? It's a transmutation-based 6-second stun, so it's all right. You can consider taking Salt Crystals. I don't normally take it. I usually just blast people by the time I get to that point, but you could. I also don't think Salt Crystals works on Reapers. So there's that. Next is not Rapid Condensation. What is this spell called? Choking Smog. No. Road Spike. I don't remember the name of this spell. Anyway, what this spell does is it causes you to become invisible for 12 seconds. Amazing tier. Smoke Bomb. This spell is so fantastic. You just drop it, and it basically makes it so monsters can't see you or react to you, and you can just blow them up. It's like improved invisibility. It's like cheating, basically. So consider this as a fantastic and useful tool. So yeah, do that. So very, very good ability. And then we have Stiffened Skin. Stiffened Skin's pretty good. I don't say you have to take Stiffened Skin. It gives you some armor class. It's all right. So I'll put it down here. In fact, I would probably get rid of it. The only reason why I would use Stiffened Skin at all is for the spell-like ability that you get out of Alchemist, which makes it easy for swapping between your different reaction states. And then we have Turn to Frog. Always take. The main reason is that even if you don't have any transmutation DCs and you never plan on it, there are plenty of creatures that can just be frogged like it's nothing. Constructs can be frogged. I don't think it has spell resistance checks. And it has... I can actually check on that. I don't think it does. But regardless, it's a will save for the actual save on it, which means monsters get destroyed by this. No, fortitude save, never mind. But monsters get destroyed by this all the time, especially constructs. And on top of that, so you can just get rid of like scarecrows and what have you. And there's ways to get past different mechanics in different raids in areas. For example, the totems in Babala Saga are actually froggable, so you can use this to just start sprinting through and instantly destroying all the shadow totems, which is fantastic. And now we have the Vial Concentration spells. So there's actually an answer here to this one, which might shock some of you that there is a correct answer. Acid, D tier. Cold, D tier. Acid Attunement and Cold Attunement are both damage over time effects. They're both incredibly powerful and are overwritten and overwrite these buffs. Waste of time. The other ones, pretty good. I would take them for the extra damage that they add in. So that's Fire, Poison, and Lightning. These ones don't have damage over time effects that overwrite themselves. But Acid Attunement and Cold Attunement are both very, very good buffs. They're easy to get from the rings from Master Artificer and also Lord of Blades. They're also very, very easily craftable on the new Dinosaur Bone weaponry. And you're going to see the Melt Fang, which is what crafts the Acid Attunement, on almost every weapon from now on. And that is better than this effect and replaces it. So even if you cast this, the Melt Fang effect will proc and it'll replace this and take away your buff. So why waste your mana on that? Anyway, this is Alchemist spell tier list. This is what I think of the Alchemist spells and how I would rate them and how you should take them and what you should do with all of them. So I hope this has helped some of you at least get some clarity about what is good and bad about the Alchemist spells and what you can or can't do with some of them. I hope I did an okay job of rating the spells as appropriate. And as I said, when it comes to like which of these spells should you take, it's all the elements. Just pick the spells the elements that you want to use. Alchemists are cool because they only have to pick one. Once they get to level 12, you can just cast only lightning or only fire. It doesn't matter. So keep that in mind. You don't have to take all the spells. That's like, oh, you said always just take every multi-vial spell, but I don't have enough 5th level spell slots. Like, no, that's not what I meant. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for joining.